guys, what's up? I'm Mackenzie and today I'm going to show you how I did my Bellatrix Lestrange cosplay. This is a two-part video series. The first one is makeup and wig, which I already covered. It should be already online. It's going to be up here. And this part, welcome, is going to be dress, accessories, and the corset. So I made the dress myself, very proud of it. And I also made the corset myself, and then I procured a couple of these, accessories. So with that said, let's go into dressmaking first. I picked up two different fabrics for the dress at Joann. One was a black linen and the other was a black cheesecloth from their Halloween fabric section. I started with the basic witchy dress pattern I found on Etsy, but ended up modifying it heavily to get the Bellatrix shape that I wanted. Once I had the basic shapes cut out, I started by draping it on my mannequin. This here is the front top piece. I decided to just cut one piece together, and then I'm cutting out what I want to be the neckline on both fabrics. So started with finding the right shape on the linen and then doing the same with the cheesecloth. The bodice was really simple. It was just two pieces with the two different fabrics, so 4 pieces overall. I'm just stitching them together with a stay stitch while I work on the bottom piece, and then I'll stitch everything together once I have that. Before I can actually sew the cheesecloth on top of the vinyl layer, I'm doing some test swatches here because her dress has these tiny silver swirls all over it, so I'm going to hand draw that on the fabric, and I'm just doing a test here to see which marker was going to be better to use, the white or the silver, and I had 2 different thicknesses, so I had a lot of options. I decided to go with the thicker silver marker, and here I'm just drawing the swirls all over the bodice. I looked at a lot of reference pictures to see what type of swirls, how clustered they were, all that. I ended up adding more swirls, but here I am testing out to see what the cheesecloth looks like over top to make sure that they're still visible. There were a lot of steps before I could sew this whole thing together. Another one of them is adding a gather to the front piece of cheesecloth for the bodice. With my swirls drawn and my gather made, I'm now sewing together all the pieces of the bodice with one side left open so I can attach the skirt. Since the sleeves on this dress lace up and there's a separation where the shoulder is, I'm just cutting the raw edge. The next step is the skirt. I did about a half circle skirt with this, maybe 3/4. I just kind of eyeballed it. But before I can draw on any of the swirls, I'm just sewing the pieces together so that it will lay flat. The next step was to sew together the dress and add a zipper. So I didn't get a lot of good footage of me cutting the sleeves, but I did the same method with the swirls and the cheesecloth. I sewed it down and then I cut it so that it would have an opening on the inside of my arm, and I'm putting these grommets in. There's, I think, like 25 grommets, 24 grommets on each sleeve, and I'm just using these tools here to add them in. It took forever and it was really painful on my hands, but nothing compared to the corset, which you will see soon. So the technique for adding these grommets is I'm using a hole puncher to punch out the perfect size hole, adding the grommets in, and then I'm hammering it down with this little hammer situation I have going on here. Once I had all of the grommets on both sleeves and on the bodice, I used a leather lace to lace up the sleeves to the dress. Oh, also one last thing. Off camera, I added a hood to the dress to give it a more witchy feel. I don't really have any suggestions for that. I kind of messed it up, but it looks fine as long as I don't put it on. Okay, so now we've covered the dress, let's go into corset and then we can talk about the accessories. So, corset time now. So I started making the corset by using a muslin fabric and fitting it to my mannequin. So I'm just going to pin it here and then sew down the edges so that it fits nicely. Once I had it fitted to the mannequin, I just am drawing out the pattern based on reference pictures, and then I'm going to cut them all out and cut those pieces out of leather. I saved all of these pattern pieces, so if it would be helpful, I can put together a PDF and add that to my Etsy if anyone wants the pattern. Once I had all the pieces cut out, there was a very sharp edge on the leather and I wanted to weather it down a little bit, so I'm using this Dremel and a sanding tip and just sanding the edges down so it's kind of on a slant and it looks weathered. And then I'm also just going in and sanding away pieces so there looks like there's some battle damage too. The next step is assembly, and I'm going to be sewing it together like hers is. So I'm using this little tool and a hammer to basically chisel out holes that I can then lace up with a special leather needle and wax leather string, I guess. After making at least 100 holes, I'm now lacing it up with my special leather needle and my waxed string. The front is going to have crisscrosses in the lace up, and then the rest just has a once over. As you can see, it does take some work to get the needle through, so just RIP in advance to your fingers. The next step is to punch holes in the back for the corset lace-up area. And after hours of work, here's what it looked like. So the leather I bought was more matte, so I added this leather sheen to it because Bellatrix's is very shiny. So I'm just doing one coat with a brush here and letting it dry. I almost forgot to do this part, but I'm making the wand holder that she has attached to the side of the corset. I'm just cutting out pieces that will fit the wand within it and then using the same method of punching out the holes with that little tool and the hammer and then sewing it together by hand and sewing that onto the corset, and then of course adding the leather sheen to this point as well. And here's a close-up of what it looked like after. Let's talk about jewelry. This little bird skull I got on Etsy. I will link the shop in the description below. She has a bird skull ring on her thumb, on her right hand, I think, but I did not realize that until it was too late for mail to come. So we had to Amazon a couple of snake rings, which I'm gonna wear because it feels Slytherin energy. So we'll do one there, and then I have a black one that I'll put on the other hand. Just adjusting that. Okay, so we got a snake ring there. We got a snake ring here. I'll probably wear these in real life because they have good vibes. And because I am a Slytherin myself. But I digress. Let's talk about her wand. So this is also an Etsy purchase. I love buying Harry Potter wands because they come in a wand box and they have the little name on the end. So we can unbox here. Cute holder. And of course, okay, so that covers it for the costume and the accessories. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you come back for more spooky cosplays the rest of the month of October, and, you know, check out what's already on my channel. I have a bunch there already. I'm just super excited with how this came out, and I hope you guys enjoyed it as much as I did.